Damodar, thanks for joining us today. So I'm Rick Miller in partnership with Carahsoft today. We're here to tell a great success story for support of one of our key government agencies. And we won't talk about the government agency, but you'll probably all figure it out when we start talking about the details. But Damodar is the chief architect, the enterprise architect, the CTO, whatever for NGS. And what I'd like to do is just let you briefly introduce yourself and who you work for, and then we'll talk a little bit about your project.
Thank you, Rick. Hello, everyone. Great to be on the stage. I'm Damodar Emi, and I work for National Government Services as a solutions engineer, senior advisor. I'm with NGS for National Government Services for last 7 years. Working within the next generation desktop project. That's a bigger project there. So I'm glad to be on the stage.
Well, thanks for traveling here into the snow belt, I guess.
Thank you. And I'm happy to share our story and our journey with Elastic for the last 5 years.
So before we get to the technology and all kind of nitty gritty here, why don't you just give the audience just a sense of what the project is, what does it do for the citizen?
So, the goal of the project is to, provide what we call appropriate content. What we call is scripts, like it's a movie scripts.
Okay.
To the customer service reps. These scripts actually, someone looking for a healthcare, government health insurance program, or federally facilitated marketplace, FFM they call. So these call centers support those two applications. So someone looking for healthcare, someone have questions, so they reach out to the toll-free number there. And then these customer service reps take the calls, and they provide that information back to the beneficiaries. So how do we get the right information? We have thousands of documents, and so what we call them, like I mentioned, scripts, right? So they read the script to the end user saying, okay, you're looking for some solution, you have questions. So we bring back that content, right content in a timely manner to them.
Okay. And these customer service reps, how many are there? Is this a national network of service reps?
So we have close to 15,000 customer service reps handling the calls. And we see anywhere from a million hits per day for searches. The very interactive system. So these call center operations located geographically throughout the U.S. In a different time zones. And these service reps handles calls 24/7, 7 days a week, with exception to the federal holidays.
Okay. So you've got Medicare, Medicaid, healthcare.gov, all the medical services for a significant portion of our population, probably in the tens of millions of subscribers, I guess, or patrons, or citizens, I guess, however you would want to term us. So you're fielding 1 million plus calls a day from that.
So you're right. The beneficiaries and people that call, the support, they're in the millions, and then we get so many calls, and we all know that we have to enroll for Medicare. It comes to October time frame, open enrollment time, and goes up to mid-January. So that's the time like we see the peak lower. We see close to 2 million hits. So that's the sheer volume of the calls we handled it those times.
Okay, and you're currently using Elastic for the technical solution. We'll talk about a little bit about that, but before implementing that as your solution, what was your impetus for change? What couldn't you do? What were your main problems? Why did you seek another solution?
So that's a good question. So before we implemented Elastic, we had a basic search, we have thousands of documents. How do we serve the right document to the caller? Service rep. So they have keywords associated with the document or a title of the document. It's a very basic search. And also we have bilingual customer service reps. We do have Spanish, we have English documents. They're in thousands. So to get to the right document, you have to hop multiple times. to navigate to the content. And then it is taking a lot of time in the call, and then the beneficiaries you're handling are senior citizens, so they want the information right away. They don't want to be on the call for a long time. So there were always challenges before we chose Elastic that time for search.
Okay. All right. And so this sounds like kind of a laborious process. You didn't have multi-language capability. Building those scripts was time late and kind of a lag time. How long did it take kind of per call, would you say, for a CSR rep to be able to handle all that and come to a fruitful solution for their beneficiary?
Before we implemented the search solution, anywhere the call takes from 10 to 15 minutes an average, and based on the questions, and sometimes longer, because to get the right information, so like you have to hop multiple stages. And then once we got the search capability added to the application, so the calls reduced to 8 to 10 minutes. So that's now your average call time is less than 10 minutes.
So that's a huge productivity gain then. That's probably letting your CSRs do another call, 2 or 3 a day, cutting their time down, right?
Correct. We have 15,000 customer service reps handling these calls, and when you save that much of amount of time, and then they're ready for more calls. And as is a 24/7 operation, they can handle more calls. They don't need to wait line is reduced quite a bit.
Right.
And
so that caused you to be on the search for a new solution. How did you undertake that? What was your selection process? What were the criteria that you needed to satisfy to change?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we're looking for solutions, which one best fits our needs. One is a cost, and then the next one is implementation time. Can you do this one real quick? And also open source versus enterprise, because we work with the federal projects. So it's always a question about open source. So Elastic came top of it, out of all the process, and it's easy to implement and also easy to integrate with your application, and the turnaround time is much smaller.
Okay, so those were your key success criteria, and scalability, you said, was a key one, right?
Correct. I forgot to mention that. Scalability, because our requirement is to provide the content very quickly. Anytime you're looking for a search, it should be 500 milliseconds or less, because anytime you have more than 3 to 4 seconds, it's not helpful, because you're dealing with customer on the line. So that's why one is scalability and the speed at which you support provide the content to the customer service rep.
All right. And then once you made your selection and you had to implement the system and go into pre-test and production, et cetera, what was that process like? How was the support you got in that when you needed to get over some hurdles, et cetera? What was your implementation like?
Any software, there's always learning curve. We started with building a proof of concept. So we took the one use case, we built a proof of concept and presented it to the client. They liked it. But when we started developing the process, right, we have thousands of documents you're updating every day, multiple times. So how do we get the updated document in the short amount of time, and also the volume of the calls? So we end up putting this application to the performance load test. Let's see how this is going to work out. We got into performance issues. So then immediately reached out to Elastic support. They're very quick, and then they gave the tips to tune the application and also add additional nodes on the fly. And then it helps a lot, actually. So it reduced the response time quite a bit, and also the availability. It's available 24/7, and you can do upgrades. You can do patchwork. That's pretty common if you're in an on-premises system like us. So it's supported very well.
Okay. All right. And I've talked to several other attendees here, and they've all talked about the support network and the communication back and forth with Elastic support arm, and how Elastic listens to their needs and quickly adopts good ideas from the field and rolls it into their product. Did you find that to be part of your experience as well?
Yes, we started with way back, like, 5 years ago with the 2.4 version way back. And then every time they release a new product, they always recommend. It's much easier to roll out, and you can utilize the new features. So that way, they're always in touch, saying, we're releasing a new version. Do you have any issues to roll out? They always recommend rolling updates.
Okay. And then how are you doing in terms of thinking down the road, new features, functionality, both in the product and the program perspective, functionality that you want to give to your CSRs and as well as the beneficiaries? What are you guys thinking about there?
So we are looking for, cutting down the time, actually, call time, much more. We want to, as customer service rep picks up the call, so we want to build the application to listen to the call and build the content ready as soon as is ready to answer. So there no need to search for the things. So that is something we are looking to automate the process. So listening to the Spanish script, someone talking the Spanish. So process that language and get the words and do the search behind it, and then provide the relevant content to them.
Okay. All right. Kind of in terms of using the product ongoing and lessons learned and incorporating those into your processes, is there, have you found that do you need to do a lot of tuning, to what the CSRs are needing and the beneficiaries are looking for in the product?
Yeah, I think, we do get, for example, like March comes, right? Tax filing season comes. A lot of our calls around taxes, beneficiaries, they want to see how to get the document, where to find it. So those things, what we do actually, right? System will build that frequently used content, and it keeps on the top of the list. So that way the system will provide the right information to them in a given time frame.
Okay. In terms of where you're going down the road, kind of ultimately, it's 1 year, 2 years down. What are you looking to do for the beneficiaries and the CSRs?
We want to automate the application, incorporating machine learning and AI into the calls. Like as I mentioned, as we receive a call before even reach they're in the line, they can even get the information saying, okay, I'm looking for adding my child to the insurance plan. So then, listen to that sentence and then, behind the scenes process it and get them the interactive response back. So we would like to build that kind of feature into the operations.
Okay, so further compress that CSR time that they have to spend with the customer by feeding the information that the AI tool tells them they're probably looking for, right?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, we're looking to automate the process and minimize the time, and then utilize their time in the call.
Okay, so it's a hugely scalable system. There's a lot of beneficiaries that are using it on the back end. Obviously, scalability and speed have been two of your primary. The multi-language was a critical one for you. As you move forward with the program, is there anything kind of you haven't covered or I haven't asked that you would want to, of import to you, that you would want to point out to the audience for what you're trying to do?
It's actually, I can say, the experience with Elastic so far is much fruitful. As I said, we are a 24/7 shop. We have to provide the system availability to them. And the way any new patches, new upgrades, new features comes, it's much easier to roll out, and then there's no downtime. And then that helps the client because they're much satisfied. They want to see that availability all the time.
Okay.
And I really like the product.
Okay.
Personally.
I can pick that up from your support here. I think that's pretty much it. I want to thank you and your company, personally, for this is a valuable service for the country. Obviously, tens of millions of citizens. If we're not using it now, eventually we will be using it, and we will be beneficiaries. Hopefully, we live long enough. So, thank you for all the support and what you guys have done, and really working toward that productivity savings and finding a tool set like Elastic that can really, make a real impact to the beneficiaries and the CSRs. And thanks for traveling here today.
Thank you, Rick. It's a pleasant talking
right.
to you and then sharing our experience with all folks here.
Well, it's always good to get the good stories out. These venues are great for telling the good stuff and not just the headlines in the newspaper. So, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.